Marquee match of the week. Now we have a theme.
So, as was pointed out to me, apparently I didn't talk about this in the regular podcast, at least not the part that made air. So I'm going to do kind of a quick and dirty recap of this one. Now, as I said in my initial recording, I actually think this is probably not the better of the two 1-0 matches that we had this week, but there's definitely so much to talk about in here. I had to make the marquee match of the week. So we're gonna start off with Victini versus Slowking. Really good lead for Papkun. It's gonna shut down the Victini. There's a lot that could have missed here. Like Slowking versus Lopunny is pretty good, but versus Rillaboom's bad, Gengar's bad, King Gambit's bad. Not even great against Mamoswine. Mamoswine probably 2-hit KOs with the Earthquake, or Earthquake knockoff into Earthquake. So good lead for Pap here. But that doesn't matter because we got the Scarf Max HP final Gambit from Victini to start us off 5-5. So we get fresh leads again. And this time we get Lopunny versus Volcarona, which again is a good lead for Papkun. He did a good job there. Interesting thing here is we're going to see the Lopunny switch out because he's kind of worried, not a good matchup for Lopunny, especially if there's like a defensive Volcarona. And we see Protect come out. That's surprising to me because I think Lopunny could have been your definitive answer to... Volcarona could have been your definitive answer to Lopunny. You build a bulky Bulkarona, as it was called back in the day, and you just let Lopunny touch you a bunch and hopefully burn it. And you just run like Quiver Dance, Morning Sun against this team, probably Fire Move, Giga Drain, and you could probably do some good work. Doesn't end up happening here. Went for the Protect, which, interesting call. We're going to see the Mamoswine come in. Rock Tomb's great. Obviously would have been a guaranteed KO there, and then allows him to outspeed almost anything else that would have come in, including the Selectros. He's going to go for knockoff. I think this is a little bit of a risky play on Brett's part because Electros can carry stuff like Close Combat and Drain Punch, which is going to do a lot of damage to this Mamoswine. But obviously he thought that that would be worth this. And he takes a U-turn, which is a decent chunk of damage here. A relevant amount of damage, shall we say. We'll see the foreshadowing. Sometimes foreshadowing is fairly obvious. Extral's going to come in and obviously force that out. Rillaboom's going to come in, take a big chunk of damage, and according to Brett, that is just adamant max attack Excadrill standard damage versus Rillaboom. No boosting item, very strong. Now we're going to see the switch out to Volcarona, and you can see why, there was... This is why it works as a defensive Pokemon. Now, based on this damage, I don't think this is a defensive Volcarona. I think this is an offensive Volcarona, which also makes me question the both Protect and also, Leftovers recovery. You don't see a lot of those. I think that there is in League format, it's tough because I don't know how I feel about Stealth Rocks. I think they're good, but they tend to be such a momentum disadvantage to take a turn to set them up. It's hard to find a space to do it because you want to keep up that momentum. It's like, I have offensive pressure, I should take it. So, Papkun kind of rolling the dice here and just being like, nah, either if he gets up rocks, I can get rid of him with my Excadrill, or he's not going to get up rocks. And worked out here. Now we see the Mamoswine come in here with the Grassy Train up. Could be potentially afraid of a Giga Drain here, but I think Brett was Assault Vest if I remember correctly, so ended up not mattering. We see the other Rock Tomb come out, and the Iron Valiant is now going to have a speed drop plus the Quark Drive boost. Ends up canceling out, so Mamoswine's not going to be able to outspeed it. Definitely going to threaten out the Mamoswine. And Papkun pulls a double switch here. Really interesting. I think he was probably anticipating Gengar coming in. So that's a really interesting call. Didn't quite work out. The Rillaboom's going to come in instead. But Papkun is going to get up the sand here. And we're going to see this Rillaboom still do a really good amount of damage with the Choice Banded Wood Hammer. And Tyranitar is going to get rid of the Rillaboom. But also Tyranitar's thankfully going to get about an eighth of its HP back from the combination of grassy terrain and leftovers. Mamoswine's going to come out again, threaten this Tyranitar out. Brett's being really aggressive with the Rock Tomb, but it's going to help him speed control. But this Electros going down easily here is good for Papcoon because now he's going to have more turns. I mean, is he going to have more turns? No, he's not. So he needed it to go down fast so that way this Excadrill would be able to come out and threaten here. So Mamoswine's at 90%. I'm quoting Brett. I didn't calc this. According to Brett, this is a roll heavily in Papcoon's favor. If Papcoon gets this KO, Mamoswine goes down, and then he can set up Sand again later and bring in Excadrill. Drill kills Lopunny, Gengar, and King Gambit going down the line there. So this is a big KO. But Brett doesn't really have anything he can switch into. The only thing that might live a hit, King Gambit will live the initial Iron Head, but then he's got to figure out how to switch into an Earthquake, so it doesn't really do him any good. Lopunny might live a hit, but it's not worth the amount of HP damage he'd have to take, and it's only delaying the inevitable at that point. So Brett chooses staying with Mamoswine on his words, not mine, a real dirty roll, probably 20% or less. The Iron Head comes out, and he doesn't get the KO. Drill is not able to get the KO on Mamoswine, which means he's going to drop to a high horsepower. And Brett's in a really great position now. Because at this point, nothing can really stand up to Lopunny, unless he gets bad luck on the Volcarona. Get to that in a minute. Just Ice Shard chips the Iron Valiant for, a little bit of chip damage. Lopunny's going to come in, threaten pretty strongly here. We're going to see the return come out. So, little critique here, just something to think of. Again, I think you need to use Volcarona defensively here. I don't know that it puts you in a winning spot, but best play here is you come in, you let the Tyranitar take the return, and now you should be going into Volcarona because he has to go for a fighting move here. Volcarona will definitely live it. You have another chance for your Flame Body to proc. Then you can go back to Tyranitar, chip it down. You maybe get another hit chance with Volcarona later. Because we're going to see that this Volcarona is not able to stand up to this Lopunny. We're going to see it clean KO'd from 80% with the return here. It does get the Flame Body, but at this point it's a little too late. And even Return's not able to KO the Iron Valiant. Dazzling Gleam is going to KO the Lopunny. And Brett comes out with a really fun play here. He could have just gone into his Scarf Gengar and KO'd this Iron Valiant pretty easily. But he wanted to show off a little bit because, hey, it's an off-season event. We got to try, right? So we're going to go for the Endure. This Aura Sphere is going to knock the King Gambit down to 1 HP. Now we're going to get to see my favorite berry in Pokemon. We're going to see the Custat Berry go off. So, for those of you who don't know what Custat Berry does, I'm going to break it down. Custat Berry activates when you're below 25% HP. King Gambit can act faster than normal thanks to Custat Berry. What it does is it allows you to move first in the priority bracket. It doesn't ignore speed. It ignores speed. The King Gambit will move before anything else here. Like a Choice Scarf Regieleki is going to move after King Gambit on this turn, unless it goes for a priority move. Because you still function the same priority bracket, but you're gonna move first in it. If anybody wants me to do a video on priority brackets, put a comment in this so that I remember it. But so he's gonna hopefully go first here and go for an Iron Head, get the KO on Iron Valiant. But it doesn't matter because Papcoon is packing Vacuum Wave just to get around Sucker Punch shenanigans from King Gambit. Really cool. That's such an awesome tech, but it doesn't matter because Sludge Wave is just gonna come out and KO anyways. But awesome tech there. Really fun stuff showed off in that battle by both players. Sorry I didn't, this is a supplemental to week 3's podcast. Sorry it didn't come out with the rest of it. I did talk about all this stuff already, though. I promise you. Thank you all for listening. See you next week. Goodbye.